Go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in on this little information session. I definitely want to tailor this to what you are all interested in knowing. I do have some kind of question prompts that I'll just answer, but we'll have time at the end for questions. If you have anything specific that you are really interested in learning about, or anything that you have kind of maybe found challenging in your kind of endeavors of applying for jobs, or if it's about starting your own business, because I've had lots of trials and errors in starting my own business, but just get started. So my name is Holly Singer and I am in Calgary. My pronouns are she, her, and I started Milk Jar Candle Company about
2014.
2000, oh, 2000, no,
No?
what, 2000,
Oh,
6 years,
okay.
2016.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So in 2016, in my home, not really to be an entrepreneur. I actually was going to nursing school at the time. I had just applied, and Milk Jar was really something that I was passionate about. I loved making candles for a year in my home, and I would make little batches of 8 candles at a time, give them to friends. So it was really just a passion that I love to do. I love baking, making things with my hands is something I've always loved, and always loved burning candles. And kind of why I started making my own candles out of soy wax was because I learned that burning paraffin was not as healthy and good for the environment. So that's what most common inexpensive candles are made of. So Bath and Body Works candles use paraffin wax. It's a petroleum byproduct, so lots of toxins in them. And then I went to go purchase, I think, soy candles, but they were more expensive. So I was like, oh, I can make this myself. So that's kind of how it was born. And then I had so much fun playing with scents. And then when I decided to start a company, it was when I was going to school. I used to work for Cause and Effect Foundation. So that's an early intervention program for children with disabilities in Calgary. I have a kinesiology degree already. And in that kinesiology degree, my focus wasn't really on sports. It was more focused on adaptation. So working with individuals with disabilities. So that really was what I was passionate about. I wanted to be an occupational therapist. I applied for a master's and my marks weren't high enough. So did not get into that program. So then when I was going to nursing school, I kind of felt like I was no longer connected to a community that I really enjoyed working with and cared about and felt like I had a lot of purpose in. So I kind of figured that, I'd made these candles and I thought they were great. You know what? Maybe I'll start a company and I'll donate $1 from the sale of every candle to a nonprofit that supports children with disabilities. Because I had done a pool therapy program for 7 years with a boy with cerebral palsy and his mom. And he would always speak of all these organizations in Calgary that were amazing, like CADS Calgary, so the Canadian Association for Disabled Skiing, Between Friends Club, going to Camp Bonaventure. So I thought that maybe I could support in a little bit, maybe make a little bit of pocket change to buy some nursing textbooks that are very expensive. And that's really how it was born, out of kind of a desire to fuel up a passion and a purpose that I wanted. And then when I started nursing school a few months later, Milk Jar just started taking off. I was getting requests for wholesale and I had no idea what wholesale meant. So I was trying to focus on Milk Jar, yet also do nursing school. And I kind of knew if I tried to do both, I'd fail probably at both. So after my first semester of nursing, I took a year off to push this new business I started and see what would happen. And in the first year, it was very successful. I had a lot of fun. So I never went back to nursing school. And then now Milk Jar is 6 years old in November. And over the course of 5 years, we raised over $157,000 to support children's programs in Alberta. So Grit Calgary Society, Pace Kids programs, Between Friends, CADS Calgary, Step by Step. We kind of would switch it up every now and then to try to spread the love and bring awareness to these wonderful programs. So that really is kind of how Milk Jar was born. And then to kind of really make that passion and purpose of Milk Jar and what we value full circle of inclusive practices and, creating inviting spaces is our mission statement. And we do that a lot with the community. We really thought we could insert that into our workplace when Milk Jar was 3 years old and I needed to hire employees. So we are a manufacturer of the candles. We order the waxes, the glass, the wicks, and then we put them all together and make beautiful candles. And we make diffusers as well, but we make it all by hand. So I decided that I thought that Milk Jar should be an inclusive employer. And we hired it 3 years ago. We hired our first 2 employees through Inclusion Alberta. They are both with Milk Jar today still. I think right now at this time, we have 18 or 19 staff members, and about a quarter of our staff members here at Milk Jar have disabilities that help make the beautiful product. So in a nutshell, that is Milk Jar. Creating inviting spaces is our mission statement. We do that with the beautiful product. We do that in our workplace. We do that in our community. And we also do that in our workshops. So we teach candle making workshops too. We invite the public in and I teach my tips and tricks of how to make a candle. So someone could maybe start their own candle empire. I just tell everyone that they can't forget where they came from. So in a nutshell, really, that is kind of what Milk Jar is and what we stand for. So in our industry too, really what we are is a manufacturer and a wholesaler and retailer. So we have a website where customers can come and purchase. We attend markets where we set up a little booth and sell our product. We also have a little storefront at our industrial bay in the Northeast where we are, so people can come in and shop. We also wholesale to other stores. So we're in about 170 stores across Canada. So we wholesale our product and they sell our product as well. So kind of what we do is we have to create the product. So production assistants are the majority of our team. That's our entry level position, is coming in and learning how to make all the product. We also have workshop teachers. So we have people that teach a couple of our candle workshops. So that's a service we provide. Some of the tasks of our production members are also not only making, but retailing. So using the till, selling our product, attending markets, and also selling at our markets. And then shipping and receiving too. So we have a little shipping team. So they're the ones that receive all the orders and get all the wholesale and customer orders packaged up in boxes and ready to be shipped out. We do have a management team as well. So we have a little marketing team consisting of Pete, Sarah, and Sarah, 2 Sarahs and Pete. So one of our Sarahs does more communications. She runs our ambassador program. So trying to get other people to share Milk Jar trade product for it, to bring that awareness. And then Pete does our photos and advertising. Sarah Lamoureux, our graphic designer. And then we do have a couple managers that really focus on our staff and our operations. So in my kind of role, I do finances and pay bills, I guess, not the fun stuff anymore, but I do touch base with everyone. I kind of just float around and see who needs help and what needs to be done. So that's really, really my role here. Does anyone have any questions about just my introduction and about Milk Jar?
I have a question. Do you have drop shipping?
We don't drop ship. No, we
Okay.
tried actually drop shipping with a company. We were to remove shipping from us. So we would just send our product and then all of our orders would come into this other company. It didn't really work out for us because we really like to be in control of our shipments. It kind of removed that control piece for us.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and there were just kind of some breakage and yeah, we just decided like we'd rather keep our own jobs, because then if we drop ship, we kind of remove a couple positions at Milk Jar. So
yeah.
we do all our own shipping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other questions right now?
Yeah. Do you have an affiliate program?
What do you mean by an affiliate program?
It's like if you promote your products on like different websites and you get a commission or something?
Yeah, so we don't have that right now. Well,
Okay.
I guess we're on a wholesale site. Actually, we do. Sorry, we're on a wholesale site called Fair. So I'm assuming that's probably the same. They wholesale our products to other companies, mostly in the States, and they take a bit of a commission. And then we also recently are signing up for a Shop My Fundraiser page. So this is a fundraising page where organizations like a sports team, a nonprofit, a school can set up a little fundraising campaign of online store of milk jars, and then they try to, over 3 weeks or something, have a fundraising goal. They send it out to all their family, friends, if they're students, and they make about a 20 or 30% commission on
Oh, okay.
products. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going to pause for 1 sec because I have my puppy here and she's dying to get out the door. Sorry.
Okay.
1 second. I'll have her say a quick hello to everyone. Here you go.
Hey.
I'll put her out here. There you go. Yeah. There. Sorry about that. She's been crying at me.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Do you have your product selling on Amazon?
No, we don't have
No?
our products on Amazon. Some people have brought that up. We haven't looked into it. Right now, I would say we're at like such a large capacity of what we can do.
Oh,
I
okay.
would almost fear that Amazon would put us over the edge, that we're not prepared for that. And I'm not really sure what the breakdown is for, I fear if we're on Amazon, then that would take away from anyone ordering from our website too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're not on Amazon.
Holly, question for you. Are you the only owner of your company? I mean, do you have any business partner, or is it only you?
No partners, just me. Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, I've seen people have run businesses with partners. I'm very happy I did my business all on my own because decisions got made a lot quicker. I think I've seen kind of people who are in partnerships. Obviously, you got to kind of split up everything too, but you always have to run all your ideas by someone and they have to agree on it. And you always have to be on the same page. It can split the work, but I would prefer to hire managers in their own roles that can kind of run it. But making those big decisions, for me, I can be a little decisive or impatient, I'm not sure. So I love just having an idea and just making it right then and there, making the call and setting it in stone. So I am the only owner of the business. I definitely get a lot of feedback from my managers. I definitely don't try to make decisions too lightly and make sure that they work. I do have a bookkeeper too. There's some areas of Milk Jar where I've outsourced really important things like bookkeeping because I would not bookkeep very well if I did it. But yeah, any kind of really big decisions on direction. It's been nice that I was the one that was able to make it, especially early on too.
Good. And another question: where can we find your products? Like, do you use a retail store like Superstore?
Yeah. So some bigger stores I would say that have it is Blush Lane, so that grocery store.
Oh, Blush Lane. Okay.
In Edmonton. And then we're going to, this is really exciting. It's kind of new. We're going to have 3 of our holiday candles in some Indigos this year.
Indigos.
It's
nice.
Huge. Yeah. So I think 20 Indigo stores are getting our product. And then if that goes well, I think they'll take our whole line in a lot more stores. So we're really excited about that. Well.ca is another big kind of retailer. We're not in, I would love to be in like a Nordstrom or something like that. Hudson's Bay also too. So there's 5 Hudson's Bay stores we're in Calgary. And then I think another 19 across Canada. So those ones are very, very exciting too. And yeah, those are kind of the big ones. If you go on our website, milkjar.ca, we do have a map that has a list of our retailers too. Our location, if you ever want to come to our workshop, if you pop in the front, you can see where we teach candle making classes. And then if you look in the back, you can see where all our milk jars are born and our team working away. We're in the central northeast, kind of near Marlborough Mall.
Okay.
On our website is, if you Google Milk Jar, you'll find it, but we're on 28th Street. So 1450 28th Street Northeast, and we're Unit 7. So if anyone wants to come, we're open on weekends too a little bit. So we love giving people tours of our space.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Holly.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'll just kind of keep going. So that's obviously about Milk Jar in the industry. So the positions at Milk Jar that we have that are entry level are our production team members. This is pretty much what everyone usually starts at Milk Jar as. So I think it's really important that any role we have here, they know how to make the product first. They'll be more equipped in marketing or anything else if they know how to make a candle, if they know how to do candle care, if they know how to sell a candle. So most of our team members started in production. Even if we did hire a manager, they learned all the production steps too. I would say we have about 10 production team members here. So about half of our staff make the product, and they do retail as well. So that is kind of the primary position that we first hire for. Why that's a nice kind of entry level. So we do require people obviously to have good hand dexterity, so that they're able to do some labeling. Not everyone, we do make accommodations though as well, because there are some members of our staff that do have a little bit more challenges with having a label be on maybe really straight, but we have made some accommodations. What's really been amazing is we had one of our staff members, Ali, she advocated for herself to label, and she found me a labeler, like a label measuring thing. And she asked me, she's like, I want to label diffusers better. Can you get me this thing? And it'll help me label. And it wasn't too expensive, but I was like very happy that she came up with an idea that would help her be more successful and presented it to me. And I was like, absolutely. So we got that for her. It worked so well that we got another one so that a couple of our other team members could start learning how to label. And these are members that have been here for a while, but maybe they just struggle a little bit more with that, kind of making something a little bit more straight, I guess, on a candle or diffuser. So they're now learning new tasks, and that has been really, really amazing here. We're a very accommodating workplace, obviously. And I do think that once we became an inclusive employer, the topic of accommodations has just become very natural with every staff member here. Typically, one accommodation for one person is an accommodation for everyone. Everyone would like that accommodation as well, whether it's flexibility of changing their start time at work due to being able to get transportation here, or an accommodation of, like a tool that would really assist, or an accommodation of more breaks throughout the day. That's just not accommodation for one person at Milk Jar. It really is one for both, or for all people, sorry. And I think it's been really a really good, it's made me, a better employer becoming inclusive. Truly, like I really do think that is the reason why we're successful and why we have people now applying. We hired 3 new people who have the same values as us, because our values are very out in the open about what we care about, how we care about all people, how we are just really creating inviting spaces. And if someone needs an accommodation, it is no problem to talk about it. We need to maybe have a discussion of how it can work for them and the business, but we'll always figure out and work it out, because we want everyone to be successful here. And now we're having people apply that know that about us, and we get people that are very caring of other people. So I really do find that our workplace here has become very, very kind and very, just a very beautiful work culture. And I think it's really improved our employee retention for all of our employees. Employee retention is something that employers really want. People getting hired, quitting and leaving, then we have to rehire and retrain. It's quite expensive for businesses. So companies really do want that employee retention. So I think we've given people a little bit more purpose than just selling a product, which is really nice. And I really hope to, inspire other companies to start implementing inclusive hiring practices as well. So I'm really happy to be talking to you. And I'm actually, it's really cool. In October, I'm speaking at a conference for Disability Employment Awareness Month in Saskatoon to employers. And I'm very excited that I get to kind of share all of the benefits that have happened in my company by the values that we have kind of implemented and the purpose. So yeah, I think it's really good, and people are thinking about it a lot more. Yeah, it's definitely the way the world should be going. Does anyone have any questions about positions that we hire for, or maybe even the way the job goes? Yeah.
Yeah, another question, Holly. Are you currently hiring any production team members?
Currently, we just hired our last person we were looking for about a week ago. So
Okay.
not at the moment, but we're never really sure how busy we're going to get. So you can always look on our website. We have a little careers drop down, I think, page if there's
Career
like a job
section.
post.
Okay.
Yeah. We always do post it on social media as well. Currently, we're gonna see what happens with the team that because I think we hired 3 people in the last month, but then our last one was last week. So we're kind of seeing how this goes and if we have enough people, but we do have it on our website if we are hiring.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does your packaging work?
The packaging, like,
Yeah.
How is it, like, how do
Like
we
produced?
produce? Yep. So our packaging for our candles and diffusers, they are made at Ingersoll in Ontario.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yep. So they're made here in Canada. And yeah, our graphic designer makes some very beautiful boxes, and then we send them off to print, and then we get a bunch of different boxes. And then that is part of some of the tasks that we do here. So there's tabbing wicks, there's labeling, there's pouring candles, there are building boxes, putting the candles in the box, there's shipping, there's retail help, there's bundling diffuser sticks together with an elastic band, there's assembling everything together, there's cleaning trays, there's setting out glassware, there's putting caution stickers on all the glassware as well. So there's a lot of different steps that have to that go into making a candle. And it's nice because there's different steps that are different kind of levels, advanced levels. Like some are maybe a little bit more advanced where they require a bit of hand strength to it. So pouring would be that, because the pouring pot is a little heavy. So if we do have some of our production employees that are unable to do that, we have lots of other tasks that they are definitely successful at doing that are kind of what they do.
How many positions do you have altogether?
Different positions or employees?
Different positions.
Positions. So you have production team member, we have a workshop teacher, we have a customs specialist. So this is our person that creates a bunch of custom candles for other businesses. And then we have marketing. So 3 on our marketing team. And we have our staff and inclusion manager. And then we have, so that is Raylene. So she's our manager who really takes care of all of our staff, our scheduling, documents, accommodations. She's really great at that. Matthew does our operations. So really how the space moves and runs and efficiencies and ordering product. And then we have shipping and fulfillment. So a couple people in shipping and fulfillment and inventory management. So they manage.
Oh, okay.
That. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions right now?
Do you hire remotely since you're in Calgary and I would be in Edmonton?
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Would you hire remotely?
We haven't hired remotely before because most of our, I guess for the jobs that we have of making the product, we kind of our staff to be here in our workshop space. I would say one of the jobs that it would work out with would be maybe on our marketing team. That's kind of a job where someone could be more on their computer. And actually one of our staff members on our marketing communications team, she has cerebral palsy, and she has the ability to work at home if she is unable to come to the office, let's say due to maybe a big snow or something's going on. She does have the ability to work from home, and she runs our ambassador program. So it's more emailing. So you have a couple people that have worked remotely, but those would be maybe unfortunately not on the production team, because we unfortunately need hands to make things.
Yeah, I understand. Because I have like social media, web marketing, as well as some clerical degrees. So
she has 4 university degrees.
How many?
4.
I have 1 university, 3 college.
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess the next kind of position I'll need is an assistant to answer my email. Because Jasmine knows I was not getting back to her emails for a while.
It was completely fine. Also, you're running a business, so it turns out that takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holly, I was
Yeah.
just wondering, how many employees do you have?
I think looking on the website, I'm pretty sure, including myself on payroll, I think there's 20 employees.
20, and you're in like 170 stores and you have a website and all these things.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? How
How
does that
did-
happen?
How does it happen? Well, when we were bursting at the seams, we hired more people. How it kind of, I mean, the first 3 years of Milk Jar were really organic growth. I don't know how, I didn't know how to advertise. And I truly believe it was because our product cared about people, not just like it kind of, the purchase at Milk Jar did more than just buying a product. It kind of did more, and people really resonated with that. I do think that, you know, when you start your own business, if you're looking to start your own business, something that I really learned was what makes you different from everyone else in your industry. So why is my candle different than another company's candle? And why should someone buy our candle over that one? So what is this is called your value proposition. Like, what value are you giving? And, you know, we're not just selling a product, we're selling a feeling. We're selling a feel-good feeling that, you know, this is supporting inclusive employment, and it's, you know, raising money for really incredible programs in Alberta. So I do think making sure if you want to start your own company, that there is, you do kind of bring that piece to sharing what makes you different and what makes you, why, who cares? That's kind of what someone said to me, like, okay, you're a candle company, who cares? Like, why should people care? And if you can answer like, oh, this is why people care, because we do this and this, and this is what makes us different, then that is kind of what you should always say when if you ever meet a stranger and they're like, oh, what do? You don't just say like, oh, I own a candle company, it's called Milk Jar. They're kind of just going to be like, okay, like they're not going to ask another question or be interested, because there's many candle companies out there. But it's like, oh, I own a company that creates inviting spaces through making beautifully smelling candles, like donating to our community, and having inclusive hiring practices. That gets someone saying like, wow, oh, you have to go. Bye, Ricardo.
Yes, I gotta go. Thank you, Holly, and thank you, Greg, Shannon, and Jasmine. Appreciate it. It was really good. I will contact with you guys later. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Bye. So yeah, so that's a really important piece, I think, just that being able to give your elevator pitch about what you do, that really makes people want to ask, ooh, tell me more. Like, what you do all that? And, you know, I'd never heard of a candle company that did that. So that is really what is going to hook people to your business.
I have a question.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you set your own prices and stuff?
Yeah. So so for our pricing for a product, I first look at what the cost is. So how much does it cost us to make a candle? So there's hard costs. Hard costs would be the materials. So one glass with one wick with 10 ounces of soy wax or whatever, you just put all those prices together, and that is your hard cost. Soft costs are kind of something that is a bit more variable, that might be not related to the actual product, but are things you need to pay for. So rent for the year of your space, maybe your salary, the labor cost as well. Labor costs could probably go into a hard cost. So how long it takes to make, what the cost is to pay someone to make that one candle from start to finish. Other things, raises, you could think of benefits. Those could be soft costs that go into candles. So kind of like things that really definitely need to be paid for you to run your business. Your yearly bookkeeping fee, kind of those can be in soft costs. So typically it would be about your costs. You'd set your costs and then you double your costs, and that is your wholesale price. And then you double your wholesale price, and that is your retail price. That is typically kind of how selling products, how the pricing structure is. So I think you really want to make 30%, I believe, in a wholesale cost. Yeah, like a 30% markup in a way, at least. So sometimes you could double it, but then I guess after if you're just doubling your hard costs, that might not be kind of enough, or that probably would more work out to that 30%, but that's typically what a standard is for how you can wholesale price and how you can retail price. And then we also look at the industry standard. So what are other companies that we feel like are the level of our candle meets and matches? What are they selling their products for as well? So we can be on par. We wouldn't want, you could do something, you could lowball a little bit to try to sell more, but then you kind of undervalue what your company is and you undervalue the market. But you should try to always be a little bit more kind of on par with what the industry standard is, just so you're not kind of diluting what the industry is, and to make sure that you are making what you deserve as well, as because you deserve exactly what another company does. Okay. Shannon, I saw you wrote in the chat. I don't know. Is that for later? Maybe. Oh, it's a direct message for me, so I'll read that later. Okay, is there any questions right now? Any more right now before I continue?
I do more so. Yeah. So like starting your own company or even anything, there's a lot of people that I've come across that would like to start their own business in whatever realm. And I think passion drives a lot of your work, but on the kind of hard skill level or, more than just I had a passion for making candles and being inclusive and doing those pieces. What kind of skills would you say were like the top things that, even if there was mistakes made and you learned from them, and then, you know, these are the things I want to share with people starting their own business?
Yeah. So I would say what really was beneficial to Milk Jar was, since we were selling a product, to get our name out there, we really utilize free social media tools. So Instagram and Facebook were really important to create almost like a portfolio of your company. People will look at your Instagram account, and then if you have photos of what you do, if you have information in the captions, and then it links to your website, that's a really great way for people to find you. And it's a really great way to show off what you do. With Milk Jar from the beginning too, I invested in really good photography. That was really important to really elevate that what I do is, you know, professional, and it made it seem like a more professional product. Even though I was making them at home, that was okay. I put myself out there in markets to try to sell. And so I would say utilizing free social media tools, making sure you can make a website. There's Squarespace and Shopify. They, even if it's just an information website about contacting you if you're providing a service, like not necessarily selling a product, it's really important to have like it be eye-catching. People like pretty things. Human beings like to look at pretty things. Eye-catching, there's information about what you do or what you sell. There's beautiful photos. It looks professional. You look very legitimized, and it's a really great way for people to hear about what you do and what you sell. So I would say we're in a digital world these days too. So utilizing digital platforms to get your name out there. Something also really beneficial that worked for me was partnering with other businesses. So utilizing their following to showcase Milk Jar and show that I partnered with them and I'm very community focused. So if there's ways that you can collaborate with another business with whatever you're trying to do, I would say that is very, very beneficial. Partner with an organization that just is maybe in the same industry as you or cares about the same thing as you do, would be really helpful. So like that was really helpful in getting our name out. You kind of, I'd say in the beginning, it's hard when you maybe don't have some capital. Like I really had to do everything myself in the beginning. So starting a business, you need insurance. You should have, a business license. I utilized Google. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. And I really utilized Google. I went to the registry and just asked. I didn't have a business license for the first 2 years in my home because I didn't know I needed one until I moved into this space. And then I had to call the city about setting up my business license. And I had been running my business in my home for a long time. So you can get away with some things. But how I kind of saw it is once I found out I needed it, I figured it out and I implemented it, or I called the city and was like, how do I do this? So asking for help, asking people like, hey, this is kind of what I need. I would say the biggest things are, you need insurance, you need a license, you need to maybe incorporate. You can be typically a sole proprietor is how many people start out. The only thing about being a sole proprietor for me, it's a lot cheaper to incorporate your business that way. So you'll need a GST number that provides you with a GST number to start collecting tax. But sole proprietorship is connected to you as an individual. So the business kind of is you. So this is good if you're like a photographer, like that kind of is you. You're not going to be hiring a bunch of people, but there's more liability on you. So if, let's say, someone was going to sue your sole proprietorship, like Milk Jar was a sole proprietor, they would be suing me. So because we're dealing with flames, I would prefer Milk Jar to be its own separate entity and not Holly Singer. So I instead then incorporated Milk Jar, a bit more expensive, but it's a corporation. So I am not personally liable for Milk Jar anymore, which is very smart, just because of the risk. And a lawyer, I actually didn't do that at first. It was maybe like 8 months into Milk Jar, a lawyer told me I should have incorporated. And I was like, okay. So I found that out as I went. That's kind of, it's okay if you don't have it figured out all at once. There's steps you need to do to run a business just to protect yourself. But I think also too, there's some businesses such as like if you're providing a service, like you're your own photographer, I think there's some things you can get away with. Like you do not need to collect GST. I believe the number is only if you sell more than 20,000 in a year, then you need to collect GST and submit GST to Canada Revenue. But if you're not earning less than 20,000, you do not need to collect GST and you do not need to give that to the government. I don't know. Did I answer that question? Those are some big things. Obviously, the insurance things are important, but I would say what really catapulted Milk Jar was I invested in a photographer taking nice photos. And this was really helpful for our website because websites need high quality photos. And then your Instagram, it would give me, I would have a photo shoot with a photographer, and then I would get 60 photos. So that was my content for like 3 months. I didn't have to try to figure out daily how to take a photo on my phone and post it. I kind of just had this nice backlog. And there were some nice tools such as Planoly, which helped me plan out my Instagram. It's an app that shows you how you can lay it out. And I think, you know, from what I've seen on Instagram, I just think people that are advocates for you know, people, like human being advocates are what people want to see. If there's just something more happening where people are there to, you know, show, I don't know, remove barriers and remove stereotypes and show, you know, what people can do and how you can support. I think it's really incredible. I think I've really seen people want to feel better. And I think there's a lot of junk on there that people don't feel really good about. So I think to follow people that are advocates for mental health, for the LGBTQ plus community, for they're a disability advocate, and they like put that purpose of what they know into, maybe it's makeup artists. Like I see all the time some people that with some really amazing accounts that we follow that we're inspired by, will be kind of doing something else. They'll be an influencer, they'll be a content creator or a makeup artist, but they'll also state on their profile what else they stand for and like how they stand for, you know, inclusion, or they stand for their mental health support and all these things. And I do think those are what people really want to see.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Do you have your own YouTube channel?
No, we've talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Question, Greg. Good
Did
question.
I ask that? Did I ask that question already?
No, that's a great question though.
Oh, okay.
That's great. I think oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you showing videos, especially like how to candle making, how to whatever, candle care, all the different things would be super valuable. I know a lot of information about candles and about business, but it's one of those things where you have to put time. I mean, my marketing guy's got to block off some time with me, and I feel like to do them. We make reels videos. So they're small videos that we post on our Instagram. So we do those, but I think a YouTube channel would be very beneficial. Thank you for putting that at the top of my mind again. We've talked about it a lot, so I'll plan that with my marketing team.
I hear it's supposed to grow to $104 billion for content creators by the end of this year, but right now it's like $20 billion.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's growing.
I got to figure out how to do the whole YouTube share thing. I got to remove some more of my work to delegate it to other people, and then I can start the YouTube channel.
And one more question. Do you have an app where people could download an app and connect to you through the apps?
No, we don't have an app.
Okay.
I know there's places like coffee shops have apps
Yeah.
where you can pre-order. I'm not sure an app to purchase would
Mhm.
work for a company. I'm not sure. I mean, we have our like Instagram and our website, but yeah, we don't have an app right now. I'm not
Okay.
sure what that app would look like. It'd be cool if it was like a scratch and sniff and you could smell your phone and you could smell our candles.
Or you can see them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we do have our website, so people
Website, yeah.
definitely, see everything
Okay.
there and on our Instagram. But yeah. Mhm. Thank you for
Okay.
that question. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna look back at my other questions. I guess I can kind of talk about what we look for in candidates and what we kind of look for on a resume and how they kind of stand out. So the candidates that we're really looking for at Milkjar are people that hold the same values as us in a company. So it's okay. We're not looking for experts in what we do right away. We're just looking for people with a willingness to work to the best of their ability and a willingness to accept feedback, apply it, and be willing to learn and grow and apply skills and grow those skills as they kind of continue in their career in our company. People that are flexible, I think that's been really good because a small business, we are ever changing. So we'll also being open to change because everything kind of always is moving around and going different, but really a good attitude. That's the best thing. A good attitude, willingness to learn, willingness to make improvements as you feel confident and wanting to be more successful. It is okay if we hire 2 people in production at completely different like skill levels. We have no problem with that at all. It's all about if they are coming to work on time, if they're passionate about what they do here, if they care about the company. And that really just is shown in how they interact with everyone here, how hard they're working, you know, are they on task or are they distracted? So making sure our team members have a really good work ethic. They're wanting to be a team player, also work individually for sure, because everyone's task typically is just kind of on their own, but they're in a room with a team and every task down the line kind of is reliant on another task being completed. So if someone's going to be pouring later, the people that are going to be laying out glassware and then wicking that, putting the wicks in the glassware, that person's job is reliant on the other people completing their job. So people that are understanding that they need to get the job done in order to be a team player and make sure that they are setting up the next person for success. But yeah, overall, just people that have a great attitude, that are excited to be here, that are adding to the culture, that are reliable, that come to work on time, and that are really good at communicating and accepting feedback, because we give a lot of feedback here at Milkjar. So we want people, feedback is never supposed to be seen as an attack. We always see it as a way to make people grow and improve, and everyone's learning here. So we give lots and lots of feedback, but we always give it in a really, way, really nice way. We're always really curious, like, oh, like, we're seeing that this is a bit challenging. Like, how could you, like, do you want to try it this way? This is another way that you could do this where we think it'll be easier, like kind of a thing. So those are really the things that we're looking for in people here. And let me look at my other questions. So on resumes, I guess, I do like if people have had some work experience. I do, let's say, so whether it's work experience or volunteer work experience, I do not believe people should be volunteering their entire lives. I don't think that's appropriate. Do not volunteer forever. I think to get experience, if you don't have any work experience, volunteer one time, get that work experience, get that reference. It's important to get a reference, I like to see. And learn the fundamentals of a job. I think that's always really important for anyone, that they know about professional practice, they know about coming to work on time, They know about, you know, the coworker relationship, that professional relationship, because they've had experience with that. So really that's what we're looking for in a resume is just having some sort of work or volunteer experience before. We have hired people that have never had a job before too. So we are open to that. And those are really great people too, because sometimes they're more sponges and they haven't been jaded from another job sometimes, as that can happen, but a little bit of work experience or volunteer experience is great. But I don't want to see anyone having volunteered for years and years and years and people are just trying to get free work out of them. I don't think that's appropriate. And even anyone that we've had here, if they started volunteering, it was a volunteer to get a work placement here. We wouldn't have someone only volunteer for a long time. And if it really worked out and they were a great fit, then they're able to, you know, have a job at Milkjar.
I have a question.
Yep.
How many days a week do you have your employees work and how many hours a day?
So we're open from 9 to 6, Monday to Friday. And then on weekends, now that it's winter, we're open. Like we usually teach workshops on weekends. So I think Sundays 10 to 4, same thing with Saturday. Most of our employees, I would say half are full-time, half are part-time. And it's just whatever works. We have some employees where the max that they can work is 2-3 hour days in the week.
Okay.
That's the maximum that they can work. And they're looking at maybe adding a third day as long as they're reaching their goals here. We do goal setting a lot at Milkjar, and we do reviews every 6 months with every employee to make sure that their goals are on track. Yeah, I would say some people are part-time. We have some of our employees with disabilities, they work anywhere from 6 hours to 30 hours a week. There's kind of a range, and it's kind of what works for them and what works for the company a little bit. Our staff, as long as we usually start off a little bit lighter, and then if they are, you know, excelling and, you know, they're wanting to, once they become proficient in something, they're wanting to add more skills and, you know, improve upon their current skills. That is what we like to see. And those are staff members that we're more than happy to give more shifts to. And I do think, and it's great to hear when some of our staff really want another shift, we say that's excellent. We always love to have our staff work more. Here are a couple things that a level we need to get you at. So we're going to work with you to get you at this level, and then we can give you that extra shift too. And then always they meet it. They always need it. Cool. Any more questions? No? Okay. Let me look at, so I'm looking at the last little bit because I think we just have 10 minutes. There's a question that I was given. So how to stand out and highlight abilities, not barriers. So what I would say, actually, this might be very valuable. So I've had all of our employees here, everyone has strengths and every single person has a weakness or weaknesses. I myself have strengths and weaknesses. So one of my weaknesses is being focused on my email. I'm very poor at responding to my email. I'm very distracted. And that is something that I do really struggle with. I do have ADHD. So I recently was diagnosed only like 4 months ago. I now am on medication, and that is something that I have done to try to improve upon, something that I found very, very, very challenging. Some days though I forget to take my medication, I won't, but I've now learned also skills because I knew I had this kind of weakness and I gave a name to it. I've learned ways to organize my life. Like if you saw my wall here, there's a calendar, there's a weekly calendar. I know now that I really struggle with organization. So now I'm doing things to implement these to-do lists that I'm not going to forget what I have to do. I've gotten new tools. So what I love to see with everyone here, I love when people share their strengths, like, oh, I'm really good at this. That's great. Your strengths are your strengths, and you're going to excel at that. What I want to know is how do people, excel in their weaknesses somehow, where they can identify, they know what their weaknesses are, and they know what they need to do, or they are always trying to problem solve ways on how they can, work with their weaknesses in the workplace. that is something, so that's something that I've been trying to do with myself recently. I really do think it's better to self-identify that than have someone else tell you your weakness. So don't be afraid you definitely want to sell yourself in an interview, but what I've actually had an interview recently. So we hired someone new. She has told us that she has Tourette's, and she shared during that disclosure in our interview. And I'm very happy that people come to Milkjar and they disclose anything about themselves that they think we should know. And I really appreciate it. And then she told me how she works with it. And she's told me struggles she's had. I used to be a flight attendant, and pouring coffee was hard because I shake. So I shake sometimes. So with us labeling and, using a lot of hand dexterity, I maybe thought, oh, this could maybe be a potential weakness that might be a struggle here for the current job that it is. But I asked her, I'm like, oh, like, do you have, how do you work with this trait that you have, I guess, what could be considered a weakness? I don't know if that would be a weakness, but a trait that she has. And she's like, oh, as long as I'm not nervous, she's like, it's worse when I'm nervous. So maybe if I'm working in an area where I'm not around a lot of people, I think my shaking will be a bit more improved. Like it won't make my labeling harder. And I'm like, okay, great. So she already has been thinking and has come to find ways to improve upon something that might be could be a weakness in the workplace, to make it not a weakness. Like everyone has weaknesses, but how do we work with our weaknesses is always like, hearing that, I'm just like, oh, great. It's not trying to hide the weakness or something that might cause a little bit of a challenge for this person at work, not hiding it, being like, this is kind of who I am. This is something I deal with. And you know what? This is how things I implement to make it better. And I'm always willing to try to, find ways to, make it work for the business and make it work for myself. So that is one thing I would say is when I hear that someone do that, I'm like, they're hired. Like, it doesn't matter what, any quote unquote challenges they might have. The fact that they've learned to work with them and they've learned to excel and be successful with them is what I love.
And I think that's where accommodations come into play too, right?
Yep.
If you kind of make whoever you're working for or whatever your business is aware of the accommodations that are helpful to kind of help you to excel at your job, being able to identify that and then have those things in place to do that. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's great when people advocate for themselves. I love that, because I also too, as an owner, we need to teach owners how to be too. Like I don't only know so much. And I love when people, because also I'm busy, I'm thinking about my email that I'm not answering. So I may not be completely aware all the time on like thinking about, okay, this person's maybe struggling here. Is there accommodation I need to make? I may miss it. I may not realize someone's struggling. So if someone else kind of comes to me, is like, hey, I'm struggling with these labels. I found this label, or can we get this for me? I'm like, great. Yes. I love that.
Yeah. Takes out the guesswork.
Yeah.
So it's great. I know we're almost running out of time here, but I just wanted to end on like a really positive note as like a really awesome inclusive employer. And I feel like you're somebody that's paving the way for other employers to kind of learn this and do it, not just talk about it. What kind of benefits have you seen because of your inclusive practices at work?
So many. Employee retention was one. We have some employees that have been here now 2 years, which is really amazing. Like for when I really just started hiring people like 3 years ago, I think that's really cool. So employee retention, our culture is very cool here. It's different than what it was 2 years ago. So we became an inclusive employer 2 years ago. And before that, we would have people that would apply that just wanted to work here for the paycheck, and they didn't know what we did. They didn't care what we did. Maybe we get people applying now, and all of our people here care about the mission and the purpose of creating inviting spaces and inclusive workplaces, inviting public spaces. It's really cool to see that we naturally hire people that have the same values as us. It's makes it more fun. It makes it caring. We're a sensitive bunch. I can tell that all my employees have more purpose here. including like every single person that works here. So I would say the workplace culture has improved. It makes work for me to the fact that there's another purpose that is more than just selling a product. Because there'll be days when your business sucks and it's hard and you lost maybe a bunch of money or you're not getting any work. But I knew that if we donated even a portion, even if we only raised $500 the first year, if I donated $500 yet my business failed, at least we donated, we did something, and we were able to. And I think that was my way to make Milk Jar not feel like a failure in case it did. Because if we were able to, give back and support, it was never going to feel like a failure if it didn't work out. And then it's a way to having an additional purpose. Milk Jar being a vehicle for a greater purpose than selling a product is what will get you out of bed on those hard days. When you have those hard days when you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I lost a bunch of money, or I don't know, whatever happened. I had someone quit on me. It's kind of like, yeah, but like, look at all this other stuff we're doing. Look at who also is still here at Milk Jar and who comes to work every day and is so happy. And look at the messages we get from people that, have benefited from programs we've supported, like Pace Kids. And they say like, thank you so much for what you're doing. Like, that's what it'll get you every day out of bed on those hard days.
Love that. That's a really great advice. I feel like that can go for anything and everything.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions, Craig or Shannon? No from Craig? Shannon, no? Awesome. This has been super awesome, Holly.
Yeah.
Great to hear. It's like so many different pieces, not just like entrepreneurship, but like everything else. And really cool that that's kind of like hearing what Milk Jar stands for, but also being able to see it.
I have a question if you don't mind.
Sure.
Like with my wife, when she gets a job, it's like they just let her go and they don't tell her why. Do you sometimes, if you see someone lacking or not really doing what they're supposed to, kind of let them know and try to let them see what they're doing wrong?
Absolutely.
Because with
I
my
hate
wife,
hearing
like I
that.
said, she has 4 degrees.
Yeah.
I mean, she makes me look like a dunce. I have life experience. That's it.
Yeah.
And I've probably done more dangerous jobs than most people.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I'm wondering, like, if you did hire her, because she's good at Facebook, she's good at this technology stuff, and especially social media. So that I know that would be a benefit for you, the way that you're talking. So
yeah. So at Milk Jar, I think it's I've heard of stories of people just being let go and and like I said, we give a lot of feedback. I think it's important to give people the benefit of the doubt. If you're not happy with the work, they're not mind readers. How are they going to know? How are they going to change? So we have a lot of meetings. If something's not working out, we definitely share it. And then hopefully our employees good with that feedback, and then they apply it, and then everyone is happy. They're successful. They know what we want. We're now, seeing the results we want to see. So feedback is very, very important here. That's why we do a lot of reviews. I do know, like you should be given, I think maybe if you're being let go in that probationary period. So that first 3 months, an employer doesn't need to give a reason to let someone go. So I think a lot of employers really utilize that probationary period, the 3 months, as like a interview kind of period. I don't think it's fair that they can unless something was working, like it was just something that it really wasn't working out, even with feedback, who knows what it is. But I do think that it's really important to be respectful to the employee that you hired and give them the opportunity to do what you want to see. At Milk Jar, so our marketing team, so we do have right now, so Pete does our photography and is our director of marketing. Then we have Sarah, who is our communications assistant. So she works with our ambassador program. And then we have our other Sarah, who's our graphic designer and runs our social media. So currently we do have kind of all those little facets together, but obviously in the future, I think marketing teams for selling products are they're like supposed to be the biggest part of your company. It's kind of really what is going to drive our sales and be able to make us bigger and better. So, you know, I saw Shannon too, you left your phone number and your email.
Yeah.
I'll definitely keep it. And you can please, I'll write my
if you-
email here too, and please send in your resume.
And if you need another photographer, I do photography as well.
Oh, nice.
And
You're a
as-
duo, a marketing duo.
I was trained by Jim Proctor. He's a world-class, and worldwide known photographer,
Oh,
which I
nice.
didn't know, by the way, because he taught me when I was in high school, and I just thought he was just some boring math teacher. Boy, was I wrong.
Wow, that's amazing. If you have an Instagram of your photography, I'd love to see it.
I do and I don't, because some of my